me that my God ain't real. Bullets in my car when I step behind the wheel. But who could take my life if it ain't God's will? I'll be like, good grace, God is so gracious. On the way to helping the hot as Glow Nation. The way it is, what you meaning? I'ma praise him as long as I'm breathing.
For me, I couldn't see, no, no. Wouldn't ever believe what you have for me. Whoa. My God beat the odds. Yeah, we beat the odds. Promise you it didn't look good. No, 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 no. Yeah, we beat the odds. Yeah, I'll tell the world. My God beat the odds. Yeah, we beat the odds. Promise you it didn't look good. No, 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 no. Yeah, we beat the odds. Yeah, I'll tell the world. My God beat the odds.
Ah non. right, this is Scott and Sarah's Most Excellent Summer Adventure. This is a game that's going to require movements. So you're all going to stand up, and you're going to go to corners of the room. I know, making y'all do a little exercise. Listen to the instructions here. This is a story. I will say this. Are you sore? Oh, I'm sorry. This is a story-based game, okay? It's called Most Excellent Summer, but it's not started out great. Hit that slide, please. Here's how to play.
Your best friends, Scott and Sarah, feel like they've had the worst summer ever so far. Their parents suddenly had to work more hours, which meant a big family vacation got canceled. Then their dog ran away and is nowhere to be found. And if that wasn't enough, the freezer broke and all the ice cream they looked forward to eating melted. Ugh. But summer isn't over yet. It's
all right, are you listening?
Help them save what's left of it. Give them advice each day on what they should do by selecting one of 3 choices you feel is best. Pick wrong, and their summer gets worse. Pick correctly, you'll help bring some color back into their lives. It's time for Scott and Sarah's Most Excellent Summer Adventure.
Yay! All right, so this is how it goes. You need to hold up 3 fingers. 3 fingers. You need to hold them up, okay? You're going to have 3 lives, okay? You're going to hear the story unfold like the game we played, Loot and Lunacy. There's going to be a story that unfolds. And then you're going to have 3 options. Option A, option B, or option C, okay? All right. So now FYI, if you choose option B, you don't want to stand in front of the camera. Nobody wants to see your back, okay? So just kind of stand over to the side, okay? So if you get it right, you get to go on and continue helping Scott and Sarah have the most excellent summer. If you get it wrong, you have to put down a finger, okay? All right. And everybody knows if you have 1 life left, you keep your index finger for your last life, okay? So, all right. So does everybody understand? Once you're out of your life, you are out and you sit down, okay? So here we go. Here's the first thing right here.
You consider starting things off by suggesting Scott and Sarah attend a local event. You discover there's a rodeo in town, as well as a circus. What do you recommend? 1, you all head out to the circus together. 2, you take them both to the rodeo. 3, you don't suggest either option.
All right, so 1, 2, or 3. You have 3 options to go to. You can either go to the circus together, take them to the rodeo, or you don't suggest either option. Y'all are 1, 2, and 3. All right. Lily chose the circus. You guys chose the rodeo. Just in time. We are playing this game called Scott and Sarah's Most Excellent Summer. And what you are to do is you are to help them have that most excellent summer. And these are options. You can either choose 1, 2, or 3. You guys are saying you take them both to the rodeo. Sounds like a fun idea. Doesn't sound dangerous at all. You said neither. You just want them to be miserable and make things worse. Okay. Nobody chose creepy clowns in the circus. Okay, all right. So let's see what the answer is. You have 3 lives. So hold your 3 fingers up.
It's time to find out what happened next.
Here's your choice. 1, 2, or 3. The answer is...
Well, at the circus, a pack of wild clowns run up and lasso you all, and then use actual paint to color your faces to look like them. No. Scott and Sarah are devastated. You lose 500 points.
Wow, which is just 1 life, so put down 1 life if you chose that.
Your lack of suggestions don't make anything better. What game are you playing anyway? Remember, this is not Scott and Sarah's snooze fest.
Oh
you
my
lose
gosh.
1,000 points.
Wow, so you lose a life too.
Did you
All
take
right.
him to the rodeo? Well, good news. At the rodeo, Scott tries
Good job.
bull riding and is so good that he wins a trophy. Sarah also calms a wild horse down, and the owner thanks her with money. The rodeo is a hit. Gain 1,000 points.
So good job, y'all. Y'all keep your 3 lives. You lose a life, and nobody loses life over here. All right, so here we go. Let's see what happens from here.
It's 95 and rising. The AC's busted. Everyone is melting like crayons on the dashboard. Time to cool things down. Literally. What do you suggest? Backyard water balloon fight? Sneak into a fancy hotel pool? Create a homemade soapy slip and slide.
All right, so 1, 2, or 3. Backyard water balloon fight. Could be fun. Disaster could happen. Sneak into a fancy hotel pool. Time of your life. You could get imprisoned. Or create a homemade soapy slip and slide, but break your arm and go to the hospital. That could happen. Or maybe not. Excuse me. All right, we got a good number between 1 and 3. Only 1 for 2. Let's see what the answer is. Remember, hold up your fingers. If you have 3 lives left.
Backyard water balloon fight? As you all get ready, some ratty neighbor kids sneak
All right.
over and fill some of your
Y'all all
balloons
lose a
with
life.
pickle juice. Now Sarah smells like a sandwich, and Scott isn't feeling all that kosher.
Aw.
Total chaos. Everyone is soaked in brine.
Womp
Lose
womp.
500 points.
All right. Let's see.
Sneak into a fancy hotel pool.
Oh.
You make it past the front desk with confidence in a borrowed pool noodle. For
All right.
10 glorious minutes, it's paradise. Then, security shows up.
Oh.
You pretend to be foreign diplomats who can't speak English.
Oh.
They're not buying it. One security guy uses Duolingo to call out your fake accent. Busted in 3 languages.
Wow.
Lose 500 points.
Wow, you lose a
Create
life.
a homemade
You lose a
soapy
life.
slip and slide. You stretch out
Good
tarps
job,
around
y'all.
the entire neighborhood, smear dish soap, and add water. Scott puts on a helmet and launches like a rocket. Sarah follows, giggling. You all take turns, and even their parents come home and join in. This crushed. Gain 1,000 points.
Good job, you guys. Good job, you guys. Well done. Well done. Look at that. Look at that. Having a time of their life. All right, here we go. Here's another one.
After learning of their tragic freezer meltdown, you vow to get Scott and Sarah some frozen dairy. But how? Sketchy neighborhood ice cream truck, DoorDash it in from a local place, make homemade ice cream at your house.
Ooh, which one? Go for the sketchy neighborhood ice cream truck, DoorDash, or make homemade ice cream. Which one is it? Ice cream in a sketchy neighborhood. All right. Wow. Look at y'all. Look at y'all. Just a bunch, just all going together. There you go. Let's find out which one it is. All right.
Sketchy neighborhood ice cream truck. You hear it approach as it plays a
No.
warped tune of Pop Goes the Weasel at 0.5
Wow.
speed.
One
You pay
life
in
left.
cash, but get an expired push pop and a melted Choco Taco.
No.
Also, your change is in Chuck E. Cheese tokens from 2004. Lose 500 points.
Oh, one life left. Oh. All right.
Make homemade ice cream at your house? You find a recipe online, so you all churn and churn and churn. The end result is salty milk with chunks. Sarah tries to be polite as a single tear drips from her eye. Scott collapses
Oh,
onto his
and
knees,
Lily is
shakes his
out.
fist at the
Everybody
sky,
say,
and yells,
"Oh,
why, God, why?"
Ready?
Lose
On 3, say,
500
"Oh."
points.
1, 2, 3.
DoorDash it in from a local place. You order,
You
wait,
DoorDashed
it arrives
it.
in 12 minutes. The waffle cone is still crispy. The ice cream hasn't melted a drop. When does this ever happen? Today. Everyone cheers, even the delivery guy. Gain 1,000 points.
Good job, y'all. Good job. All right. Yes. All right, here we
Time
go.
for
Next
movie
one.
night?
Time
Yes,
for movie night.
please. But where should it happen? Here's what's available.
All right.
Public pool showing of
Public
The Little
pool
Mermaid.
showing of The Little
Picnic in an
Mermaid.
open field
Picnic in
showing
an open
Twisters.
field showing
Mountain hike
Twisters.
while watching
Or
Lord of the
mountain
Rings.
hike while watching Lord of the Rings. All right. Hold up your lives. Hold up your lives. All right. All right, y'all are pretty quick to decide on that. Which one did you choose? All right, here we go.
Picnic in an open field showing Twisters. Halfway in, it starts raining, and the chaos on screen matches the wet chaos around you. Children start screaming. Grown men start crying. As the mob slowly makes its way to the parking lot, Scott steps into a massive mud puddle, and Sarah trips over him face first into it. Lose 500 points.
All right, so y'all lost a
Mountain hike
life.
while watching Lord
Does
of the
that
Rings.
mean that Ethan and
You all
Logan are
arrive
out?
excited. 6 hours later, though, you're just finishing the intro because it's the ultra extended AK bonus scenes edition, and the Wi-Fi is horrible. Everyone's cranky at how scary the mountain is at night. Scott and Sarah sob during Frodo's speech and yell at their screens to talk him out of his trip. This fellowship is a sour one indeed. Lose 500 points. Public pool showing of The Little Mermaid.
All right.
Everyone is a bit surprised.
Good job,
that the pool
boys.
has actual fish swimming in it. But once the movie gets rolling, you learn they're trained fish who dance to every song. Sarah
Well, that's
says
pretty cool.
it's just like the movie. Even Scott sings along to the show-stopping tunes. Gain 1,000 points.
All right. Good job. Good job. You guys still have all three of your lives.
Scott
You guys
and Sarah
lose a
are
life.
still
All right, here's the
heartbroken
next
over
one.
the lost dog, Waffles. But you hear 3 new leads. Where should you all investigate?
All right, where are you going to go find the
Abandoned house
dog?
in a nearby neighborhood?
Abandoned
A
house.
taco stand in a
Taco
sketchy
stand.
part of the big city.
Local fire
The
department.
local fire department firehouse.
Scott and Sarah, they're still heartbroken over the lost dog Waffles, but you hear 3 new leads. Where should you investigate? An abandoned house in a nearby neighborhood, a taco stand in a sketchy part of the big city, or a local fire department firehouse. All right, y'all sticking with this? All right. All right. Which one did y'all choose?
An
Locked
abandoned
in.
house in a nearby neighborhood.
Good job. Nobody
Spooky.
chose this one. That would have been bad.
Cobwebs. You knew that going in. What you didn't count on is an edgy old-timer named Hobo Hank. He keeps calling you all a bunch of meddling kids. And that bark you thought you heard? It's just a raccoon with asthma. You leave behind a Scooby snack as a peace offering while running out in fear. Lose 500 points.
Wow.
A local
that's
fire
shame.
department firehouse.
Oh.
You walk in, the firefighters are confused. The only dog there is their faithful Dalmatian, who, while you're all talking, pees on Scott's leg.
Oh my
Sarah
gosh.
backs away in disgust and gets tangled up in fire hoses. Looks like Waffles is still lost, and everyone's mood tanks. Lose.
Y'all lose a life.
500 points.
Y'all lost a life. All right. What about this
A
one
taco
over here?
stand in a sketchy part of the big city.
Wow.
You arrive
That's
and
brave.
Waffles is chilling under a picnic table, licking a dropped burrito. The vendor says he jumped in when someone tried to steal from me. He's been guarding the tacos for 3 weeks. Scott and Sarah
Wow.
are overjoyed as they give Waffles a big hug. The owner treats you all to churros and names a burrito after Waffles, which ironically becomes locally popular at breakfast.
Look at that.
Gain
Good job.
1,000 points.
Good job. Y'all are doing really good. Y'all just got y'all only lost one life. Doing good. You guys were doing great, then you lost life. Well, we'll see. Here we go.
The sun is out and the beach is calling you all to soak it in.
Oh, here we
How
go.
should you spend your time there?
All right.
Body surfing without any personal experience.
Body surfing
Lay out,
without
tan,
experience.
And maybe build a sandcastle. Competitive sand volleyball tournament.
Layout 10, maybe build a sandcastle or competitive volleyball. Which one are you choosing? All right.
Body surfing without any
I'm glad that
personal
nobody went and
experience,
body surfed. That's
Scott
good.
wipes out instantly.
That's good.
Sarah loses a flip-flop and sprains her ankle. You swallow a mouthful of the current and are now 47% lake water. The lifeguard politely asks you to surf later. Never. Lose 500 points. Layout tan, maybe build a sandcastle. Well, the beach is crowded, so the only space to lay out is right at the water's edge, and the waves soak your stuff. You get Scott and Sarah to try sculpting a majestic castle, but then a small child tries to move in. The whole thing falls over him. His parents run over and call you irresponsible for the sand that will now be all over the inside of their new Cybertruck. Lose 500 points.
So y'all lost another life.
Competitive
y'all all have
sand
one life
volleyball
left.
tournament?
All right.
Scott and Sarah have never played before, so you show them the basics. It turns out they catch on and surpass your skills, using some sort of sibling vibes to pass, set, spike away the entire competition. Local news crews show up, and prospective colleges start offering them scholarships to attend their schools.
Look at that.
Gain
Good job, guys.
1,000 points.
Good job, guys. Way to be. Way to be. All right, here we go.
You got a coupon for free
Mini
mini golf. Time to hit the greens. But which course? Pirate-themed mini golf.
Pirate-themed mini golf.
Action-movie-themed mini golf.
Action.
Haunted jungle-themed mini
Haunted
golf.
jungle. Y'all just standing there, just chancing it. Okay. All right. All right. If you chose,
Action-movie-themed mini golf.
wow.
Explosions erupt at every hole, and you're not sure they're supposed to.
Y'all are
Something
out.
is
Wah,
wrong
wah.
at this course.
Oh, man.
But between the loud music and flashing lights, you're not sure if you should even smack the golf balls that are labeled TNT on the side. Someone yells, "Get down!" You all do, again, not knowing if anyone is even running this place. Scott is
All right.
overwhelmed.
It's down to
Sarah
you three.
is crawling back to the parking lot. Lose 500 points. Haunted
let's
jungle
see.
themed mini golf? You think it's just going to be fog machines and jungle sounds. Then a costumed snake eye jumps out and shouts at you in a made-up tribal language. Sarah lets out a scream that causes a nearby animatronic gorilla to explode. Turns out
Oh
the
my
snake
goodness.
guy is the owner's son, and Junior claims he was just living his truth. He blames Scott for spiritually injuring him, and he threatens legal
What?
action using a cursed rattle as evidence. Lose 500 points. Pirate-themed mini golf.
You're over here.
Arr! Every hole has a fun
All right.
pirate pun and parrots that sit on your shoulders.
Good
while
job.
You play.
You guys win
On
this
the last
round.
Shot,
Well
called the
done.
Impossible shot.
You already just
Sarah
decided we're
hits
gonna
in.
split it
Then
up
a
1,
nearby
2, and
ship
3.
shakes, and an
Okay.
odd old pirate pops up and says,
Aye, matey, you just won this whole place. I'm retiring off to sea.
10 out of 10
Oh my gosh.
experience and a new summer business. Scott hires all of his friends. Sarah teaches the parrots how to fist bump. Gain 1,000
How do you teach a
points.
parrot how to fist bump? Oh my goodness.
Time for a spontaneous road trip somewhere.
All right, road
Where?
trip. You guys have already
World's
chosen your
biggest ball of
choices.
twine? Famously
World's
abandoned
biggest ball of
amusement park.
twine?
Scott and Sarah's
Famously
grandma's house.
abandoned amusement park or Scott and Sarah's grandma's house? All right, here's the answers.
World's biggest ball of twine.
Oh.
It's big, it's round, and it's all stringy. What else is it? Boring. Absolutely boring.
Oh man,
Scott
why'd
keeps
you, are you
mumbling.
out?
Why?
Oh man.
Sarah learns that the guy who made it got sick
All
making
right.
it, so she compulsively hand sanitizes the rest of the day. Lose 500 points. Scott and Sarah's grandma's
See,
house.
how many lives do you have?
You think she's got cookies, a pool, and will
One?
feed us all day. Turns out
You have one left?
you interrupt Grandma's weekly bingo gathering, and if there's one thing you don't mess with
Look at
Grandma
this.
about, it's bingo.
Don't mess with
On
grandma
top
with
of
bingo.
that, the pool is green and smells like
Oh,
expired
man.
bean dip. Her cupboards are locked too.
That means
no cookies
that
or even salting
Bowen
crackers
is the
for
winner.
you.
Good job,
Lose
Bowen.
500
Good job. Good job, Bowen.
Famously
All right.
abandoned.
Famously abandoned
Total up your
amusement
score.
park.
Did you score
Was the winner.
at least 5,000 points?
All right, that's good.
You saved the summer and helped your friends.
All right. Let's see. All right. Well, give me just a moment. All right here. Tonight we're going to talk about kind of getting ready before camp, and so we're going to jump into it tonight. I mean, think about it. Majority of us here, we're going to be leaving in just less than a week. You know, we're leaving Monday morning. We're going to leave Monday morning at 8:30. Leave excited. Going to be leaving friends and family and school, and we're going to get away. We're going to be together. You know, we're going to be together, and we're going to spend time together, and it'll be just us and the Lord together. And so I want to ask a couple questions. Why camp? Why should anybody ever go to camp? What makes it awesome? Because, like, what specifically? What makes camp awesome? Okay. All right. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's that like sense of connectivity, you know. Um, and it feels good to feel like, especially when like you start talking with people and all of a sudden it's like they are you realize, hey, they're dealing with some of the stuff too. And just hearing, like, being around, like, you know, people your age, hanging out with friends your age, and worshiping and meeting new people, which is meeting new people, can it be scary sometimes? Yeah. But can it also be awesome? Yeah? Yeah, I would think so. How do you get ready? When you get ready for camp, how do you get ready? Pack your stuff. You get all the things that you need to get. Anybody go shopping? It's like all of a sudden I need all this stuff, so let's go shopping. Are you going tomorrow? All right, all right. And you know, it's like you have to get stuff and you have to buy stuff. This year I don't think I have to get a lot of stuff, but there have been years where I've had to get like a bunch of stuff. So that happens, right? Anybody already packed for camp? Like, you're just ready to go? You already, Kylie, are you packed? You're packed. That's right. You were talking about that last night. She's mostly packed, yeah. Anybody, let me ask this question. Those of you going to camp, are any of you scared? Why? Is it, I mean, well, is it because it's new? Is it because it's new? That could be scary, like a long way away, right? It's like 3 hours, right? Love how you're not helping by making that massive gulp noise. But it's also a new environment, right? Like, I remember, like, the first year that we went to Camp Siloam from Cold Springs, there were those of us that were a little bit scared about going because we've never been. We always went to Cold Springs. We knew Cold Springs. It was familiar. This is a new experience for us. So that's totally understandable to be a little bit scared. Any of y'all early packers? You try to be? What is the latest that you pack? How many of you wait until like Monday morning to pack? Night before? Night before? What about you? No? You're just like, I just pack and I pack and I get done. So, yeah. You ever forgot something to bring to camp that was important? Forgot your phone charger? Anybody else forget anything? Like anybody forget to bring deodorant? Anybody forget to bring your sleeping stuff? I did. Like I took a group of students on a trip, and I realized when we were getting ready for bed that I did not bring a sleeping bag or a pillow. And so I was like, hey, there's a group that was going to Walmart, and I was like, hey, can you get me? And they're like, all we could find was this blanket, and I still have that blanket to this day. But that happens. That can happen. And so, which, by the way, if that happens to you when we go to camp, please let us know. We can get you, sleeping bag, pillow, whatever. So, yeah, well, it happens. But that's usually, we talk about and if your responsibility for doing things, like if you work, you have to make sure that your job knows that you're off, right? Or you may even have to train somebody to do your stuff while you're gone. When we go, we have to make sure there's somebody that's going to take care of our cats while we're gone. We have things that we have to do and things to have to take care of and stuff. And so there's some responsibilities that have to happen. But I think a lot of times the thing that we think about all of these other things, and the thing, and we talked about this last year, is I think we stopped to think about really what camp is about. We get excited about the side items with camp, like the cropster hunt, or the games, or the tournaments, or the juleps, or going and checking out all these things and doing all the things, or we're wondering if Richard's going to drive to Sonic the correct way this year. We get caught up in these things, right? Maybe not the last one, but we do, right? We get excited because it's a lot of fun. These are great things to do. Those are just side items as to what we do at camp. It's not the reason why camp exists. If it's, regardless if it's Camp Siloam or Cold Springs or Super Summer or wherever, camp is about you making a reconnection with God. I think the thing that we tend to not do the most, maybe in part because maybe we think, well, at camp, this is when we'll spend a lot of time with the Lord. But the reality of it is that we should be doing that before. And I think a lot of times we don't prepare for camp with what Jesus would have us to do. There's good things about being prepared and doing things and being ready and doing it early, not waiting to the last minute. If you don't wait to the last minute, you're going to have a good chance of not forgetting something. It's good to be excited about all those things, but that's not what camp is about. We do camp because, like I said, we need time away with God. You need time away with God. I need time away with God. Camp is, I get, I think, about as much out of camp as what you guys do. That's why we go. We go because it's an opportunity for us to be with God, to rest and to recharge. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. Just tired. All these things that are going on with, just being busy, right? You guys are busy. You guys got so much going on. It's crazy. We need a rest. We need a recharge. Jesus often himself went away to spend time with God, especially before big moments. And you guys, for some of you, your big moment is you're about to go to a different school. You're about to go to college. For others of you, you're moving from one grade to the next. That may mean that you turn from being a middle school student or to a junior high student, or a junior high student to a high school student. It's a big deal. It's a big change. Lots of things are happening. And this is a good opportunity for you to get away. And Jesus himself did that. Jesus himself spent time away to get ready for the big things. This is what it says in Luke chapter 5, verse 16. It says that he often withdrew to deserted places and prayed. You know, sometimes we might look at that and be like, oh, that's crazy. You got to do all this stuff to get ready. You know, how do you know, but you can't do that. But that's really what was the most important thing, is that he chose to get away and he chose to pray. Even like if you're not going to camp, you know, if you're not going, summer can be a time for you to rest and recharge. It can be a time for you to maybe connect with God in a very real way. You know, that's a benefit about having like a summer break. Sometimes we allow all these other things to fill up our calendar, fill up our stuff, to where we just feel like, oh, I don't have time. But here we have Jesus, the guy that saved the world. What did he do? He often withdrew to deserted places and prayed. And here in just a minute, we're going to see that again, how Jesus, he had been inviting a group of guys to follow him. A group of men began to follow Jesus. They saw all kinds of things that Jesus did, and do all things that were just amazing that Jesus did, with all kinds of issues. And as big as what those were, things were about to get even bigger in terms of their importance and magnitude and what Jesus was doing. And what Jesus did in those moments was, this is what he did. This is in Luke chapter 6, verse 12 through 16. It says, during those days he went out to the mountain to pray and spent all night in prayer with God. When daylight came, he summoned his disciples. He chose 12 of them, who he named apostles: Simon, whom he also called Peter, Andrew, his brother, James and John, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James, the son of Alphaeus, and Simon called the Zealot, Judas, the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. What did Jesus do before he chose these 12 guys who'd go on in one way, shape, or form change the world? What did he do? Pray. He spent time in prayer with God. Not doing things, but getting his heart ready for what God would have him to do. God would have him to experience. Getting ready for doing what Jesus was called to do. You know, Jesus was about to make a decision that had a massive impact on the world. So he went away and he prepared. He prayed. You know, he didn't go to Camp Siloam. You know, he didn't go. He didn't do any cropster hunting or anything like that. But he did go and he spent time with God in prayer. And that's the thing. When we get ready for camp, the thing that we should be doing the most is praying about camp. It's praying for God to move at camp in our lives, in our hearts, for God to show things to us, to reveal things to us. Prayer matters. It's our way of talking with God. Imagine planning to go and do something with your friend and never having any conversation about that. You ever do that? You ever like say, hey, let's go hang out, and you have no idea what you're going to do because you don't talk about it? Has that ever happened with y'all? It's kind of weird, right? And you just end up being like for hours wasting time. Well, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to go watch a movie? No. You want to go watch it? No. You know, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't ever talk about what you're going to do, you oftentimes will just sit there. It's like, okay, if Crystal and I don't talk about when we go on a date, which by the way, we still go on dates, okay? If we talk about where to go eat on a date, we will spend 20 minutes just talking about where to go eat on a date. Especially if one of us says, I don't care where to eat. And then we start naming places. I don't want to go eat there. I don't want that. It's usually me. Let's be honest. It's usually me. So, right? But if we talk and say, hey, how about we go eat at Olive Garden on Friday night? Yeah. You know, that's me saying yeah because I like Olive Garden. We prepare, we talk, we spend time kind of planning it out, right? The same is true with your friends. When you get together and you do things with your friends, you have conversations with them. The same needs to be true with God. You're about to go do this godly thing of go to camp, spend time in His Word, worship Him. It would make sense for you to spend time in prayer, talking with Him about it. Asking God, I need to know, I need to experience, God, I want this to happen. You know, this could be a great time and a great opportunity for us to get ready. If you're like, I'm prayed up, well, that's great. That's good. Good job being prayed up. But if we're honest, I know I haven't prayed enough about camp. Pretty sure most of us in here haven't. Here's the big thing, the kind of the takeaway tonight. If we want to see God move at camp or even in our own lives, if we're home here, if, you know, just because we're home here doesn't mean that God can't move here. It's not like God's just like hanging out at Siloam and not hanging. He's right here. But if we want to see God move, we need to spend time in prayer asking for God to move. Asking for God to move in our hearts and our lives. If we don't spend time in prayer about camp, it's not going to have the turnout that we hope. We need to be praying for God to move in our group, that those who are going would get along. I mean, think about it. You're going to be with each other for 5 whole days in the heat, at night, late at night, early in the morning. You're going to be dealing with people that might do this at night. You might be dealing with people that get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go run or use the bathroom. You know, you're going to be dealing with people that maybe don't believe in deodorant, okay? Public service announcement, please wear deodorant. Thank you. Please wear deodorant. Thank you. But, I mean, you're going to be dealing with people. We need to be praying for God to move in our group. Like I said, we need to be praying that we get along. We need to be praying that those who are going would draw closer to Christ. Y'all, listen to me, there are 21 of us going. There's pretty much all of our youth and some friends. That's a lot of people that are going to get to go. And that's awesome. We need to be praying about God to move in our group. That people would come and respond and know Jesus. Prayer, it matters so much. It just does, especially with camp. I want you guys to have a holy encounter with God. You know, maybe for some of you, you're just going through some stuff. Some stress, some hurt, some pain. Maybe it's indecision about things because you're embracing, you're going off to school, or you're going off doing this, or maybe it's just things in life are just hard. God wants to move in your life. You've got to be willing to allow Him to do it. So we're going to do something as a way to kind of help, in a sense, kind of prepare our hearts, to prepare our minds. Because the thing that matters the most is an encounter with God. Not the hangouts, as great as what they are, not the fun times, not the activities, not the snacks, not the early morning runs, or the late nights, or all of that is secondary to have an experience with God. So we're going to pray tonight. That's what we're going to do. We're going to spend time in prayer. However long it takes to pray. So we're going to do it like this, and there'll be music playing, so it's not, you don't hear this weird, awkward silence. Sometimes we have to be comfortable with the awkward silence, but we won't have to deal with that tonight. But the thing I want you to do is, number one, pray for ourselves. I want you to spend several minutes praying about you and God. Praying about like what God would have you to know at camp. And I want you to spread throughout the room as we do this, by the way. I don't want you to just go and hang out with a buddy. This is not a hangout time. This is not a sit there and Do nothing. This is a time for you to talk with God. Pray that God will speak to you. Pray that God will show you what you need to know, what it looks like for you to draw closer to him. Pray that he will speak to you. If you're not going to camp with us, here God can still speak to you. God can still change you. God can still lead you to what he wants to do. So even if you're not going to camp, you can still pray that prayer. God, what would you have me to learn this week? God, what would you show me this week? Then after a little bit, I'm going to ask you to partner up with somebody. And here's the deal. I don't want it to be your friend. I don't want it to be your best buddy. I want it to be somebody that I'm not saying that we're not friends here, but I want you to mix it up. I want you to go and pray with somebody different from you. To go and to pray with them. Partner up with someone and to pray no more than groups of 2. If you need Crystal or me to pray with you, come grab us and we'll pray with you. What I want you to do during this time is I want you to pray for your partner, that God would speak to them, that he would lead them to do what he wants to do, and that your partner would see God move this week. You're going to pray for that for each other. Then also, I want y'all to pray for us, Crystal and me. We're going to be with y'all, leading with y'all, and we need your prayers. Pray for Crystal and I as we go. We need your prayers, No, Crystal needs your prayers because she's married to me. That's why. She's, I need prayers because I'm a dope, But we need strength, we need energy, we need God to help us. We can't do this without God. And so pray for us. Pray for, and all the things that we're dealing with. Her mom's got health issues. My dad's got health issues. Pray for us to have strength this week. Pray for health and that we draw closer to God as well this week. Like I said, camp is not just for you. Also for us. And so when you've done all this, once you come back to the main area, I'm going to end our time. I want to pray for all the things that you prayed for in the group. I'm going to, I'll tell you when it's time to change. But if you are still praying over something, you still continue to do so. Don't be like, oh, Lord, help me with this. And then I say time. You're like, oh, never mind. Okay? You do what you need to do. If you need to end up spending the entire time just praying about the things that you need to pray about, then you need to do it. Okay? It's okay for you to do this. I'm going to open us up in prayer, and then you guys go and pray. When you hear music, you can, of course, begin. Remember, you're going to have a prayer for yourself, you're going to partner up, and then you're going to pray for the leaders. But if you're like I said, if you're just like, I just need to spend this time in prayer, then you do that. Let me open us up in prayer, and then you guys will spread out and do what you need to do. Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you for all that you've done. I pray that you be with us in this time, Lord, where we can just be still, just pray, Father. Lord, guide us in our prayer time right now. It's in your name I pray. Amen. All right, y'all spread throughout the room.
One voice.